Welcome to coffee time, my friend. I think it's not just welcome to coffee time, but it's almost kind of welcome to Bill Gosling outsourcing again, right? Because you're relatively new to our business. I believe you started last month.
You're right. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be ending up my third week.
3 weeks in there. And how's your first 3 weeks been?
It's been awesome. Having had the opportunity of meeting 70% of the executive team, it's not something that, based on my previous experience, it's something unusual, which I really appreciate. It goes to show that we truly live and breathe by our values, right? Having an executive team taking time out of their agenda to welcome you, I think for me as a newbie has been fantastic.
That's so good. So you've come in as the Director of Operations in Costa Rica, right? And you mentioned your previous experience. So why don't you tell the Goslings a little bit about your journey kind of before you joined Bill Gosling?
Sure. My journey in what I call the multinational industry, it started in the late 90s as a call center agent. And ever since I've been on the other side of the street, if you will. I was sharing this with Dave in terms of leading services organizations, but directly for what we call the client. So very enthusiastic about the opportunity of now being with Bill Gosling and contribute to the ongoing success of the company and ensuring that we continue to deliver those great results so far from a Costa Rican side.
From a, interesting from a professional standpoint of the kind of variance there, but what do you do outside of the professional world, Guillermo? What would the Goslings be interested to know what you do, maybe in a personal sense, hobbies-wise?
One thing that my wife and we always talk about, it's like our brain. It's a perfect machine that we still are in the process of better understanding it. So we invest a lot of time in watching podcasts, reading books, and better understanding how to take conscious of what we do as human beings. That's part of continue to grow as a professional, as a human being. And then on the flip side, as important as well, a proud father of two and been married for almost 2 decades. I even was sharing with Dave the other day, I'm still trying to digest that the oldest one, she's about to turn 21. So she decided to leave about 10 months ago. It's a tough one, especially for us Costa Ricans. We're not used to that, but I guess it's part of life.
I hope I don't insult you, man, but you certainly don't look like a dad who's got someone who's a 21-year-old, by the way. You look a lot younger, so well played.
I normally get that. I'm almost 45.
45, and you look younger than me, who's 39.
I guess it pays back waking up every single day at 4 a.m. and then going to the gym.
If a Gosling from outside of Costa Rica decides they want to come for a vacation, give them your best travel agent advice on where they should go in Costa Rica.
I wish this will not go online, because then I know I'm going to have a very candid conversation with my wife. But to your question, Dave, I would say go to the Pacific side. I love the province called Guanacaste. It's one of the most developed areas within our country. The reason why I was teasing about my wife, it's because she loves any type of coast-related areas. So she's more to the Caribbean side of the house, but that's very humid to me. Don't get me wrong, it's really nice, but humidity and we don't get along. So going back to your question, I would say think about Guanacaste or even Punta Arenas. And just a little caveat here, Costa Rica, it's as big as West Virginia, 55,000 square kilometers. So we're a very small country. And if you want to, go and visit both coasts, it will just take you 6 hours to get from the Pacific to the Caribbean. But again, I would highly recommend you go to the Pacific side of the house. It's just like 3 hours drive from our capital.
I'm sure we'll get some takers. Paul, you signing up?
You paying?
Taker, Paul.
You got to take one for the team, right? And come down here, Paul.
What would you say are some of the differences between other Central American countries and Costa Rica, especially those other countries that have contact centers, BPO kind of work, that type of thing?
Great question. I think I will summarize it in 3 main aspects or 3 main factors, Dave. I would say number 1, educational level. I think our government did really well back in the 80s when they decided to move our educational programs, public educational programs, from having French as a second language to English, especially because of how close we are to North America. So that's number one. Obviously, that's a high ROI for us as a country, which we're getting the dividends even today. Number two, security. I think the fact that we don't have an army, and on top of that, we have allies at a government level, such as Canada, the United States, and some others, goes to show that stability here in Costa Rica, it's the right place to be. And number three, it goes back to one of the things that I touched on before. It's our culture in terms of how we relate with people from other cultures. And I think down the road, that those are the three main things that I would say help us to be, the right destination for companies like ours.
Yeah, very insightful, Guillermo. And I think to your point earlier as well, and what you do in a personal sense with your wife and trying to build, that use a lot of your life skill environments and your life skill kind of development and making that relatable to our core values, I think kind of plays a part in that. And that probably leads me to my next question, which is in terms of that cultural piece and engagement, right? So you've come in managing successful teams. What are specific kind of team development or engagement practices that you're kind of excited to bring to this new role, or a new site?
One thing that even now we've already started working on with Dave and my two peers, Dave and Peter as well. I think, and to your point, it all goes back to conversations. I'm a firm believer that it all starts at a personal level, and then once you develop that, you can translate into your professional area as well. But again, long story short, I would say communication skills are key, regardless of the industry in which you are part of. So when it comes to leading organizations, I think that, and I always use this example. When a baby starts around, the things that they do, they'll start asking questions, right? And here we come adults, and we believe we're doing right. After 3 or 4 times when they're asking the exact same question, we go like, it is what it is, don't ask again, right? But I truly believe, if you ask me, to me, that's perfection, because it gives us as human beings the possibility of doing an introspection. Now, if you correlate that with now us being adults and leading organizations, I think giving others the opportunity by just asking the right questions at the right time, it gives them, and it gives you at the same time the opportunity to do an introspection and take consciousness of what you have been doing.
What you've kind of described is bringing a bit of a self-evaluation, right? And also empowering our own people to actually feel as if that there's a contribution there to what the working day is like, and also looking at apart from our own life, their own life environment. And I think bringing that both together and giving them that platform is very interesting, Guillermo. And I'm looking forward to see how that kind of grows within Costa Rica and the company as a whole as we look at best practices, right?
Absolutely. I think we truly have a great opportunity. Well, not an opportunity, but many opportunities ahead of us. When you think about the Costa Rican side, it goes to show what we continue to look into expanding our operation here. So totally on the same page.
Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic to have you on the show, Guillermo. I certainly hope that you continue to enjoy your onboarding experience with the company. I look forward to working with you, as many of our flock will do. And best of luck. And looking forward to see the impact that you have in Costa Rica.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. And to your point, I look forward to many successes down the road.
Have a great day.